It's time to share some Christmas crafting with you again today. Hey, it's Beth. Welcome. This is the 12 months of Christmas challenge that I am doing for myself to encourage myself to work on Christmas crafts all throughout the year. And these are primarily items for our fall craft shows, so the fall that are starting now. And then just to get some other projects done for myself as well. Kathy, who is Stampin' Cat over on Instagram, joins me a lot, so I will have her linked below. This month I finally made the Advent calendar or the Christmas countdown books that I have talked about wanting to make for a few months. And this is a file that I get off my Silhouette, and I will link it down below for you. But basically it's just a chipboard covered album, or cover, that I covered the inside and the outside, and then the cut file gives you the boxes. You can see that they're boxes and the lids, and then it's just a matter of assembling them and decorating them. So I had picked out, and I have one that's completed and two that I'll finish, or that I need to finish. One I'll kind of work on with you here in a minute, but I had gone through my individual kind of loose papers that I have in my stash, and I had some left from a pad that my sister had shared with me, and it had one page that was these oval numbers, and there was some other elements, and they had some ovals with some other elements too, but I just decided that that would be great for this because they're the perfect size. And so I went through and fussy cut out all those ovals, and then found some papers that I liked to create the book. And again, we'll kind of talk some more about it when I'm working on my other books here, but since I was going to make one, usually I only have one available at a time, and then I sell it, and then I'm like, oh, I need to make more, and then it's hard to find the time. So I decided, since I was making one, I went through my paper stash and found the papers that I could use for 2 additional ones. So I thought, I'm making one, why not make 3? And it did, in the album covers, the construction of the covers, I did an assembly line process, and it worked really well. Those went really quickly. The boxes, not so much. Now I just have 72 boxes to make instead of 24. But yeah, so I again had to look for papers that were, I needed 2 12 by 12 sheets that were the same pattern to cover my outside of the cover, and then just needed to find papers for the inside. So some of them, like these here, aren't necessarily Christmas, but everything else was from my Christmas stash. And then I just found cardstock that kind of coordinated with the albums that I was working on. As far as, well, I'll show you the inside. And as far as decorating, this and these were actually puffy stickers, puffy window stickers that I'd gotten from Dollar Tree a long time ago. And I liked the size of them, so I just added some glue, some Bearly Art glue to the back, and made sure to weight them down so that they could dry and adhere really well. And then this one is a foam sticker from Simple Stories, I think. And then I just have some other random items that matched. This one is primarily decorated with paper from the pad that I had left. There was cut aparts, and I did add the little bells here from the same Simple Stories sticker sheet. But I had a lot of fun. This one was almost like doing a card front or a scrapbook page. So I ended up adding probably more detail than I needed to the fronts, but like I said, I had some fun. So I'll set this one out of these 2 out of the way, and we will work on finishing this one. So So one of the files, or one of the items that you can cut from the Silhouette file, is a grid. And this grid, it's just out of cardstock, and it cuts the squares, and it just helps you line up all of the boxes. So I have my final box here that needs to be constructed. I just thought I would kind of do this with you and show you how it all goes together. I think in years past I made a video of constructing this part too. I don't know. I don't even use the Silhouette file to cut the pieces for the cover. The file does give you the measurements, and so I do take those measurements and just cut them on my own, because that's pretty easy. And it's just, I think it's almost quicker because I don't have to like wait for it to run through the Silhouette. But it gives you the size for the chipboard that you need. It gives you the size for all of the papers that you need to cover the chipboard. So that is super handy. But I do love to utilize my Silhouette to cut these boxes, because if I were to do all these by hand or even with a die, that would take forever. Whereas at least in my Silhouette, I can run through the sheets of cardstock. I think it took me 6 sheets of cardstock, because I was using 8.5 by 11. It took me 6 sheets of cardstock to do all of the boxes and lids for one book. All right, so I have that together. I'm gonna go ahead and get this lid put together too, and let it dry before we put the box in. So to decorate the top of the lids, I just took some of the pattern paper I had, like the scraps that I had left from the covers in most cases. Like this is the snowman pattern that's on the front. On the other one, I used the snowman pattern that's on the front. This one I did use a scrap of red, because since I was fussy cutting and there was some red left around the edges, I wanted to kind of hide that a little bit, that my fussy cut ovals were not maybe perfectly oval-y. But the score lines are part of the cut, and so all you have to do is fold, glue, and assemble. And so I use wet glue for assembling all of the box parts. I did use double-sided, like is it Sookwing tape? The kind of heavy-duty double-sided tape for putting my cover together, just because I didn't want to have to wait for dry time to be able to move on. All right, so basically you have your grid down, and then you are able to line up your box right in the open squares. And so I like to glue it down. I let it sit for a second while I'm letting it, and then come in with my bone folder just to make sure it's good. And then I'm going to let that sit for a second while I work on some of these other lids that I need to finish assembling. I will link the Silhouette file in the description box for you. If you have a Silhouette, you can look up that file. I guess I can't link it, but I will give you the name, and you can look that up and find it. But the file is actually from Lori Whitlock, and so I will link the file from her website if I can find it, because I know she has it on her website as well. And there is a tutorial on her website that you can watch if you need more detailed instructions or help assembling the cover. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take these lids off for a hot second in order to slip my grid off. So the grid actually comes up pretty easily, and I have been reusing this grid. I think I made it for the first one I did last year, and I've just been reusing it instead of cutting a new one. But you just kind of work it up and then you're able to slip it right off. And then you can see, because it lines up, it's the exact same size as the panel you use to cover the inside there. Oh, let's see, here's the 24 that I just made. Oops. Oh yeah, that's 6. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And I know a lot of you always ask how much I sell these for at our shows. And I've sold them for $25 in the past. I think this year I'm going to try to bump them up to $30. Just because there is a lot of time involved. It's not hard, it's just a lot of time involved in putting all of the boxes together. So I'm going to try for $30. And in the past, I've sold at least 2 every show season, like every fall show season. But I've never had more than 2. Usually it's only 1 at a time. So I'm interested to see, like, will I be able to, like, will all 3 of these sell? So we will see how that goes. But that is what I worked on this month for my Christmas projects. And hopefully you guys enjoy again. I will have the file information in the description box below, along with Kathy's Instagram account for you to check out and see what it is she did for her Christmas projects this month. As always, I thank you all so very much for your time and hope you all have a very crafty day.